Right, MOT prep on a lorry. I'll show you what to look out for. Obviously MOT prep, but you should be doing this every inspection anyway, because really it should be up to MOT standard on your inspection. In an ideal world, really. Because obviously MOT prep's only a minimum requirement. So on an inspection, if you do an inspection, you think, oh, should I change it? You got to think, well, will it pass an MOT? Because if it won't pass an MOT, it needs doing, doesn't it? So this is what I look out for in the cabs. This is an O-Gal, this is 54 plate. See that step repair, that's nice. Look. Secureness of steps, look. That's a lovely little job. Tacho calibration, what's that, 21, that's all right. That needs doing, look. See that metal showing on the seat pad. So that's no-go. Another thing with these O-Gals is worn foot brake rubbers and clutch rubbers. If you see metal on them, they need changing. So any wear on the rubbers, change them. Obviously seat belts, make sure they're not frayed or cut out, and make sure they clip into their holders on all the seats, not just the driving seat. Right, cleanliness of cab lot. This cab is shit up, so this needs mucking out before I take it for test, because cleanliness of cabs is a thing now, obviously since there's COVID and shit. That's another thing to look out for. Look, speed limiter sticker. I know that's a bit as your father look wrote, but still, it's there. Right, obviously all your mirrors, windscreens for cracks and shit, and any bullet holes. Just well, it needs a muck out, this cab does. Right, ignition on. Any dash warnings? What we got low? ABS. We don't want ABS fault. Right, don't pour your air out. Make sure you've got a low air pressure warning. You've got to have a light or a airable warning, like a buzzer going off when your air pressure's down. Hazard light switch, make sure that got a flash in there, and it's flashing on the dash as well. Switch that off. Indicator, yeah. Indicator, yeah. Side lights, headlamps, full beam, yeah. Need all the things working on the dash. Fog light as well on these Mercs. Look, it's on this switch here. Pull it out once, pull it out twice. Look, that light's up, that's fog light on. Beautiful. Right, we've got the stop lock for the low air pressure warning. We'll strike the beast up, or horn. Screen wash, have we done screen wash? Screen wash. That's beautiful. We'll strike her up. Digger, check. Height warning as well. I don't really know whether it's a failure, a height warning. I thought it was like. Oh, there, someone's coming to talk to me. Got disturbed then when I was on the job. That's deadly, and all getting disturbed, isn't it, while you're doing something. Getting dragged off the job to do something else, and you go back to the job, you think, where am I now then? What have I checked? What have I checked? I ain't checked there, right, like that. Make sure the plating certificate's there, look, that's there. Strike it up. Is that? Yeah, strike it up. Build up your air pressure. Wind down wall of the window. Switch your engine off. And then put your foot brake, put your handbrake off. And then you put your foot brake hard down so you can listen to any leaks. Now, secondary on, make sure you can hear the secondary coming on. Yeah, and into park. Obviously I'll be taking this for a brake test before it goes for test, just to make sure we ain't got no crappy brakes on it. And that's about it really in this cab. There's not really a lot else in the cab really to check for. But obviously every vehicle's different, isn't it? Now we have to check the outside, don't we? Alright, start from the front. Brake pipes, any frays. I'll check your brake hoses. If there's any splits in them or out. Or if you can see it's where it's been rubbing on the shockers or out like that. looks alright. Wheel nuts obviously. Tyres, sidewall and tyre tread. You don't want any cuts in sidewalls. Reflector. Well, that's a bit bad, look. It's got cracking air filters in. What's that one's doing? Else it's just sucking all the fucking shit up from the road straight into the air filter. That's a nice little tank repair I did a bit ago. Obviously looking for any loose bolts on mounting bolts or like that. Yeah, make sure that these tank straps and all aren't corroded through or out. Because if they're corroded or out, it's a no-go. Sidewalls, it's got a few screw-ups on it, this one has. You just look and see if you can see any cords are out. Wheel nuts, obviously. Look, he bent that the other day, look. Bent that back and it's fucking broke it all, so I had to straighten it up with a dig and I'm going to put a plate on that. He's missing his reflectors at the back. His LV boards at the back. I took them off because I was hanging off. Got to check the lights and stuff, obviously. Spring eye bushes, make sure they're not worn. Make sure they're not sunk up, look. You can see inside, look, whether they're sunk up. Springs, obviously, make sure you keep an eye on springs, make sure they're not broken. The spring has sprung. Anti-roll bar bushes. Pretty good on these Mercs. You don't seem to get them worn out so much. IV coats fucking hell, they're worn out every bastard time you come to them. Every inspection they're worn out. These Mercs don't seem too bad with the spring eye bushes or anti-roll bar bushes. Body boots. Tyre. Ooh, look. Look at that, look. That's cords, look. Oh yeah, and tyres, remember, dates and all. I forgot to check the fucking dates on them other ones. This is fucked annoying, like. Them cords show where it's been rubbing the curb, look. Rubbing's racing. Oh, he's been rubbing, he has. Air tank straps and all. Any corroded air tank straps need changing. Spring eye bushes. I'll have a close look at them when I get underneath anyway, spring eye bushes and that. That's what I fitted the other day and all, because the exhaust was blowing. See where it's blowing, look on that valve. And then we'll go underneath. It's not the best doing it on your back like, but these construction ones ain't so bad because they're higher up. You won't want to do a little bastard on your back. Even I struggle to get underneath it. Obviously spring eye bushes, anti-roll bar bushes here. They're all good in the hood. Get a little tippy tappy tool. Shockers, make sure the shocker bushes have got no play in them. Make sure U-bolts are tight. Up here as well, the mount for the spring. Make sure all they're tight. And the engine mounts. Make sure it's not leaning to one side or out, or the rubber's perished. Power steering, you see over here. Power steering's got a bit of, it's not wet, it's just like, well, it's been like damp it is. Just wants good steam off it does. Obviously I have to check the steering knuckles when someone else is here so they can rock the steering. You can check them on your own by squeezing them with grips, but it's not great. That's the way I do it. That's the way I check it when I'm on my own. I squeeze them with grips, and if they've got a little bit of play in them, that's it. You know they're changing the foot. Don't mess around nowadays with them, they don't. You're not even allowed a little bit of play really. Even a tiny bit of play, I change them. Springs, make sure there's no broken springs. Like what I found the other day on an 8-wheeler, what I was prepping for test. Found a fucking broken spring on it. The night before the test, which was all fun. all looks a bit manky under here, like rusty, but mechanically it's not too bad. I'll take a venture down the front. Same here, spring iron bushes and that. Gearbox mounts at the top, make sure your gearbox mounts are alright. Rubbing parts as well, and wires. Make sure there's no rubbing parts on out. Prop shaft UJ, give it a little lift up and down, see if it's got a plane it side to side. And the bolts, give them a little tippy tap. Check as well your gaiters on your tripod ends, make sure they're not split at all. If they're even cracked a little bit or split, change them. Because it's a failure. We shall venture on. That look, that's quite bad, that air tank look. Really wants an air tank on it. So she's got a lot of rot on that air tank. If it's not too bad, you can clean them up and just spray them, like put some paint on them. But this one don't sound very thick. Sounds like it's going through soon. Centre bearing, make sure it's got no play in it. Lad little lift up and down. Obviously just check that the bush ain't warm. Checking for parts being rubbing or kinked over. This needs steaming off and all. I need to steam clean this off today. We shall venture to the back. Just have a good look at the springs as well, because I've had them before. I'll have a look and all after I've steamed it. I prepped one for test not long back, not that 8-wheeler, the other one. I prepped another one for test, and then I steam cleaned it, and the fucking broken spring right in the middle, right here. But obviously with all the crap on it, I couldn't see it until I steamed it off. That's why it's a better idea to steam off before you prep them, really, so you can actually see what you're fucking doing. Shockers, if these are corroded, it's not a failure, these covers, but if it's leaking oil, then it is. If shockers are leaking oil, change them. If it's a failure, we don't want, it means it's just not working, is it? Brakes you wear. Make sure the inner tyres are inflated and all. Have a little venture under the back end here. Obviously this will need loading and brake testing before it goes to test, just to make sure the brakes are alright. Yeah, I'll need the brakes, I'll adjust the brakes up and all. I know the people that are taking the brake test, right, adjusting the brakes up. Then if they fail, they have to go come back, adjust the brakes up, then go again to test for another brake test. It's like, well, why don't you just adjust your brakes up before you go for the first brake test? Because then you know where you stand, don't you? You've already ruled out adjustment, obviously. So yeah, good practice to just adjust your brakes up before you go for a brake test. This looks pretty sound, really. Steam down, a few bits and bobs and that. Oh yeah, taco seal and all, look. Check your taco that's got a seal on it. Because if it don't got a seal on it, it's a failure. This one's just been done like 21, so this one's alright. Now I've steamed it, I'm going to, now I've steamed it down, I'm going to get the jack up these axles and check the kingpins for kingpin wear for lift and that, and playing the kingpins, and then the wheel bearing. If there's any play or like that, obviously, check out for play. You just have to get your bar in the wheel rim and then lift your wheel up to check, see if there's any play in the kingpin. And same with the back and all. Jack it up, adjust the brakes, check kingpins. That'll be about it, won't it? See you on the next one, buddies.